Even when he sat alone by candlelight, sketching strange dreams in the margins of his thoughts, his eyes carried something bigger than the valley he called home, bigger than the fields, bigger than fear. Joseph believed life was more than what he could see. His father saw it too. One evening, under a painted sunset sky, Jacob placed a coat around Joseph's shoulders, bright, shimmering, alive with color. It wasn't just fabric, it was favor, it was love, it was belief. But not everyone saw it that way. Out in the fields, whispers grew heavy. His brothers didn't see a dreamer, they saw competition, they saw pride, they saw a threat to their place in the story. And then the dreams came. The first one was simple, sheaves of grain bowing before his. Joseph didn't understand it fully, he just knew it felt true. The second dream was louder, the sun, the moon, 11 stars bending toward him. It wasn't arrogance in his heart, it was wonder. But wonder can look like pride to those who are hurting. So when his father sent him to check on his brothers, Joseph walked through the tall grass with innocence in his step. He didn't know he was walking toward betrayal. They saw him coming, and before he could speak, they grabbed him. The coat, the symbol of favor, was torn from his shoulders and dragged through the dust. And Joseph learned something that day. Dreams don't protect you from pain. They threw him into a pit, dark, silent, empty. But the pit did not silence him. When traders passed by, silver coins exchanged hands. Joseph was sold, bound, carried away like he was nothing. Yet even in chains, something in his eyes refused to break. Egypt rose before him, golden, powerful, overwhelming. His brothers thought they buried his dreams. They didn't know they had planted them. In a wealthy house far from home, Joseph stayed faithful, even when temptation whispered, even when lies destroyed his reputation, even when doing what was right cost him everything. And prison became his new address. Stone walls, iron bars, flickering shadows. But even there, especially there, Joseph kept dreaming. He began to understand something deeper. Dreams weren't just pictures in the night, they were messages. When two prisoners wrestled with confusion, Joseph listened, carefully, humbly, and he spoke truth into their fear. Time passed, and then, one morning, the palace called his name. Pharaoh had dreamed and no one understood. 7 fat cows, 7 thin ones, years of abundance, years of famine. Joseph stood before power without trembling, because the same God who met him in the pit was standing with him in the palace. He interpreted the dream, he offered wisdom, and suddenly the prisoner became a leader. The boy with the coat became the man who would save a nation. Years later, during a famine, hungry men entered Egypt seeking food. Joseph recognized them instantly, his brothers. They bowed before him, just like the dream. But Joseph didn't see revenge. He saw purpose. He saw the long road, the pit, the chains, the prison, and realized none of it was wasted. When he finally revealed himself, fear filled their faces. But Joseph stepped forward, not with anger, with forgiveness. What they meant for evil, God had shaped into something good. Because dreams can be delayed. They can be attacked. They can be misunderstood. But when God plants them, they grow roots in the darkest soil. And Joseph's story reminds us of something powerful. The pit is not the end. The prison is not the end. Betrayal is not the end. If the dream is from God, it becomes destiny.